I was born in 1941 in Newcastle, and at the age of 5 around about 1946, I managed to smuggle a small steel ball bearing to bed in my pocket. When I got to bed, I found that there wasn't very much that you could do in bed with a small steel ball bearing. So I put it in my mouth, obviously, and it was after having played oral bagatelle with the marble for 2 or 3 minutes that I, like Isaac Newton, discovered gravity, and the ball bearing went down my throat. It got stuck halfway down, but because I needed to shout for my mother, I opened my mouth and shouted, "Mom!" and the ball bearing went the rest of the way down. After some concern shown by both my parents, my father decided that the best thing to do would be to take me to the RVI in Newcastle to have an X-ray and find out exactly what had happened to the ball bearing. My living memory, my lasting memory, is one of someone in a white coat walking down the corridor carrying a large piece of black glass. And in the middle of that large piece of black glass, there was a large white spot. And the white spot was obviously the ball bearing. And I was told that if we took particular attention to my movements in the toilet over the next few days, I wouldn't come to any harm. And as a result, I don't still have this particular ball bearing, but I do have ball bearings of about the same size. And that was my first experience of the RVI. Having started work in 1957 in the blood transfusion service, after 13 years I moved to the genetics department of Newcastle. And working in the genetics department in Newcastle meant that I worked very closely to the RVI. The premises were just on the outskirts of the RVI. So I used to have my lunch in the staff canteen virtually every day for several years. When we eventually moved from those premises to the Centre for Life in Newcastle, my last 4 or 5 years at work leading up to me retiring in 2006 was spent in the Centre for Life. The head of the department, or the head of the unit, or the head of the institute was Professor John Byrne. When I retired in 2006, at the end of March, just after my 65th birthday, among the many presents that people gave me as retirement presents, the one present that I have here today was the plate that Professor Sir John Byrne gave me as a leaving present, and that is this plate. And that features the RVI's 1751 to 2001, that's a 250 year centenary. And that's why I've made this link between the ball bearing and the plate and the RVI, which has been a major part of my life for almost 80 years.